Hey, welcome to CZVERSE. AI, agents, crypto, Web3, quantum computing, robotics, the technologies building the next global infrastructure, explained honestly. Let's talk about today's story. As this 1920s factory line shows, economic transitions have physical consequences. The Industrial Revolution grew along rivers, while the automotive economy concentrated in Detroit. This aerial view of Stanford captures the same pattern for the microchip. Silicon Valley exists because Stanford's engineering talent and Fairchild Semiconductor's capital happen to be in the exact same place at the exact same time. Quantum computing is the next foundational technology. The question of where this industry settles is being answered right now, in specific budget decisions and specific institutional bets. In the Maryland State House, that answer is taking a very specific shape. This week, the state's fiscal year 2027 budget allocated tens of millions of dollars to an initiative they're calling the Capital of Quantum. The first pillars show the tactical focus, research money for the University of Maryland, and partnership support for commercial anchors like IonQ. The remaining blocks complete the foundation, funding workforce training for the talent shortage and building the physical infrastructure to host quantum facilities. The goal is to build an ecosystem where a quantum company naturally wants to be, where the talent, the customers, and the physical hardware are already in proximity. Maryland isn't making this bet randomly. They are leaning into a structural advantage that other technology hubs find difficult to replicate. This aerial of the NSA headquarters at Fort Meade represents the state's largest customer. The agency has funded quantum research for decades because their intelligence mission depends on knowing exactly how these machines will affect encryption. Then there is the National Institute of Standards and Technology in Gaithersburg. This is the federal body setting the post-quantum cryptographic standards the entire world is now forced to adopt. Between those two anchors is the University of Maryland, which hosts one of the deepest quantum research programs in the country. The combination of the largest intelligence customer, the federal standards body, and a top-tier research university in one geographic area creates a specific kind of magnetism for the industry. Other states are competing for the same crown. California has its venture capital ecosystem, Massachusetts has MIT and Harvard, Illinois is building its Chicago consortium, but Maryland is specializing. They aren't trying to win every application of quantum, they are building the undisputed center for defense and security. This chart shows the billions of dollars from the National Quantum Initiative flowing into the economy. But that federal money doesn't stay in one place. It flows where contracts are signed. This is where state programs come in. They act as a local infrastructure layer, catching federal investment and anchoring it to specific zip codes. The state that builds the strongest local ecosystem becomes the natural choice for future federal contracts and grants, creating a self-reinforcing loop of growth. This domestic competition is a subset of an international race. China is executing a state-directed strategy, and the EU is investing over 1 billion euros through its quantum flagship program. The stakes are binary. The first nation to build a reliable quantum computer gains an advantage in national security, material science, and economic influence. From this perspective, Maryland's budget is more than a local investment. It's a piece of the infrastructure required for the U.S. to stay competitive. The cluster law of economic geography dictates that once talent, capital, and customers reach critical density, the growth cycle accelerates on its own. Once clusters form, the companies and jobs stay for decades. Today's winners will remain industry centers for the century. By 2026 and 2027, state funding is deployed and quantum companies establish physical operations. By 2029, the data shows measurable growth, with thousands of specialized jobs anchored to the Maryland cluster. By 2030, Maryland becomes the undisputed federal quantum center of the United States. The economic geography of 2050 is not an accident. It is the direct result of today's seemingly wonky state budget decisions. That was the Maryland quantum story. Which U.S. region will be the leading quantum computing hub by 2035? California, Massachusetts, Illinois, or Maryland? I'm curious to hear your predictions in the comments. If this was useful, hit like and subscribe. Next video is on the Mercor data breach, a 4 terabyte leak of voice samples from 40,000 AI contractors. It reveals a specific, serious vulnerability in how AI training data is secured. See you there. This is CZVERSE. I'll see you in the next one.